All right, people. This day next week, we will be talking about the aftermath of Joseph Parker versus Fabio Wardley. Again, this isn't a prediction video. I gave my thoughts yesterday as to why I feel Joseph Parker beats Fabio Wardley. And I listed a variety of reasons. I showed some fight footage, and thank you again to the Zone for allowing me to use that. And by the way, if you haven't already, have a look there on screen. Do please consider hitting the like, hitting the subscribe button, hitting the notification bell. It really helps me out. We are tantalizingly close to 27,000. So we're nearly there. God, I want to get 27k. And also, this will be shown live on the Zone. The actual fight, obviously, Parker versus Wardley. Link to it will be in the description. You can use the G-Man link. It'll be pinned also in the comment section. So make sure you keep an eye on that. But in the interest of fairness, I did a video yesterday as to why I think Joseph Parker beats Fabio Wardley. This is now why I think Fabio Wardley beats Joseph Parker. And I'm not going to lie, might be a bit of a hint. I found this video a little bit more difficult to do. As much as I like Fabio Wardley, and I do like him a lot, he seems like an absolute stand-up guy, and he's very entertaining to watch. I really did have to look and think, what do I think he can do to offset Joseph Parker? What do I think he can do? Because he has spoke a little bit, and he's kind of not spoken about this as much lately, which is a good thing, about only needing to be perfect for 1 second. That's very much a Deontay Wilder mentality, or certainly a prime Deontay Wilder mentality, and it worked for him to an extent anyway, but against the likes of Luis Ortiz, who you want to know how old the pyramids are, go and ask him, because he was there when they were built, that sort of way. So it's not something that you really want to try and rely on. Have you be behind, but no, I have that one punch power. It's not a good idea to rely on that. It really, really isn't. And Joseph Parker's been in there with many big punchers. He's been in there with the likes of Joe Joyce. He's been in there with the likes of Derek Chisora, obviously Deontay Wilder, Anthony Joshua, just to name a few. He knows what to do for the most part. Zhilei Zhang is another one. He knows for the most part what to do in there. But Fabio Wardley is an interesting one because, as I said in yesterday's video, the likes of Anthony Joshua, Zhilei Zhang, maybe with the exception of Wilder, although Wilder did win bronze at the Olympics, they all, I guess he did, but they all had amateur backgrounds. They all had a bit of a schooling, if nothing else. And certainly when Wilder fought Joseph Parker, he was 40 plus fights in. So they've all been experienced to an extent. Wardley, again, 10 years ago, he put on a pair of gloves for the first time. And it was white collar. It's different. It's very, very different. That can actually be an advantage because sometimes you're going in there, it's like, if you've ever played, and I'm thinking of Ade when I mentioned this because he hates playing me at pool. Because Ade is very good at pool. He's very much a kind of a, hit the ball, hit the stripe or the solid and know where it's going to go and work it where it lands and this, that, and the other. And, that's how opponents play. And then I come along and just whack it everywhere. Yeah, he hates playing me at pool. And he always wins though, but he hates that. It's a bit like that with a fighter like Fabio Wardley. There is a bit of unpredictability there because he's not your conventional seasoned amateur, gone through and obviously he's won British titles, but you get what I mean with Fabio Wardley. It's altogether different. And I think that there are certain things that he does that Joseph Parker needs to look out for. And we're going to talk about them in this video right here. The first one that springs to mind is obviously the elephant in the room. Fabio Wardley's alluded to it, a lot of people have, the punching power. The one punch power that Fabio Wardley possesses and can potentially get him out of jail if needs be. We go back to the fight I showed you yesterday. Now, in yesterday's video, I showed you clips from round number 7 in this fight. This was obviously Justis Huni versus Fabio Wardley that happened back in June. Just round 7, Justis Huni really put a beating on Fabio Wardley. Like, he really did. But, and have a look there on screen. This is what happened only a couple of rounds later, round number 10. Wardley's shape is still a bit all over the place there. He is still, feeling this fight. He knows he's behind and looks a bit laboured. And then, boom. One mistake, Justis Huni, down he goes. And he doesn't get back up. Referee, a few people complained at the time. And maybe the referee didn't give him... Look, you can see it there. He was in no position to continue. Whether you think the referee maybe should have let him carry on or not, it's irrelevant in my opinion because the writing was on the wall. He was in no fit state to continue following on from that. But then again, that's just my opinion. And you want to talk about punching power. People... Fraser Clark went 12 rounds with Fabio Wardley last year. He went 12 rounds, March. I think it was Easter Sunday, March last year. And it was a phenomenal fight for those 12 rounds. It was entertaining. It was really fun. First round of their next fight, they were building it as round number 13. Fabio Wardley didn't just show punching power. Have a look there on screen. He showed the next reason, that ferocity. I mean, just look at that. Yikes. One punch, boom, bang. Oh, they're sickeners. And look, he's swing. Oh, man. He just has that red mist. It just descends. And it has to be said, it's a double-edged sword because look how vulnerable he's leaving himself. But I guess offense is the best defense. And look at that. I mean, this is a scary sight. Wait for it there. Oh, boy. That was... Yeah, that was pretty... That was pretty insane. It has to be said. We're going to take a look now. And again, I go into what I said there. It's not just the punching power. It's the ferocity. He sees that red mist. Now, and I'm going to say the name right this time because I said Nick Webb a few times yesterday. Nathan Gorman, right? Nathan Gorman and Fabio Wardley fought for a British title 3 years ago. Right? It was on the undercard of Dylan White versus Jermaine Franklin. I showed you clips in that first round of Fabio Wardley getting tagged, getting... I wouldn't want to say pieced up. He wasn't really getting that. It was more so Justice Hooney who did that. But he was certainly getting hit a good bit by Nathan Gorman. Now, the second round starts. Fabio Wardley is actually bleeding from the nose. And have a look on screen and look what happened. He actually gets stunned a little bit, does Fabio Wardley, from a little short left hook that Nathan Gorman almost did it there. Nathan Gorman lands. But look at this. Yeah, that's the red mist descending. Gorman is like, come on, you really want to do that? All right. Fabio Wardley ain't playing games. Look at that. Look at the red around his nose. Well, that's blood, obviously. But he puts Nathan Gorman down. And Nathan Gorman was doing well in there. He was doing well. He was landing his own shots. He bloodied up the nose of Fabio Wardley, but it counted for nothing. And look at Wardley. I mean, Parker has been in there with guys who are aggressive, like Joe Joyce. But look at the speed. Look at the ferocity. And Fabio Wardley is not playing around. Look at that. Oh, my God. Look at that. Gorman, to his credit, fires back. Very reminiscent, actually, of the second Fraser-Clark fight in that position there. He wasn't as hurt as Clark was, obviously. But look at the right hands going in. And he's hurting Nathan Gorman again here. And just look at this. Yikes. And they are swinging for the fences in round number 2. I forgot how fun this fight was. It was a really good scrap. Look at that. Bang. Body shots again. He's a good body puncher as well as Fabio Wardley. He's not a lot of heavyweights do that these days. Jesus Christ. There he goes again. Wow. This is something Parker, I'm sure, is not used to or wouldn't be used to. He's been in there with guys who, even when maybe Parker has been hurt, they've been fairly calm for the most part. Fabio Wardley is not that. Blood still trickling down his face. This is the end of round number 2. He does actually see the final bell, does Nathan Gorman. But goddamn did that fight started out one way and Fabio Wardley literally saw red, and well, that's what happened. It does also have me wondering, how would Joseph Parker deal with someone like a Fabio Wardley who appears to take a decent shot? Although his defense is not necessarily the strongest, it's still not terrible, but his offense is just incredible, and we've seen it when Joseph Parker's been in competitive fights against guys who really put it on him. On screen I can't show footage, but that's what happened in the Joe Joyce fight 3 years ago now. Hard to believe. Joe Joyce stopped Joseph Parker in round 11, devastating knockout, and we've seen it in other fights. Dylan White, when he put it on Joseph Parker was found wanting. Derek Chisora in the first fight, when he put it on Joseph Parker, again, he had to come through a crisis. So how will Joseph Parker come through it if Fabio Wardley decides to see the red mist? Although I don't think he decides when he wants to see it. I think it just happens. What will Joseph Parker do? How will he react? It's an interesting fight, but the punching power, the aggression, and the fact of the matter is, as I said before, his offense is sort of a form of defense. Although he's leaving himself open, a lot of these guys, they're just so overwhelmed by what he's actually doing and what he's putting in there that more often than not, they're unlikely to be able to take advantage. It's quite incredible when you watch Fabio Wardley really go through the gears like that. He is ferocious in there. So those are my reasons as to why I think Fabio Wardley wins this fight. Again, I will do my full preview and prediction video probably tomorrow. I'll probably record it tomorrow afternoon at some point maybe, and then we'll go from there. But yeah, let me know in the comment section your thoughts on everything I showed you in this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you could, I would really appreciate it if you could smash the like button, hit subscribe, all of that good stuff. And people, until next time.